Hey, core reporters, welcome back to my channel. Let me just tell you, Selling Sunset Season 6 is absolutely explosive. I am only 3 episodes in and already hooked, okay? Bre Tiesi, who is one of Nick Cannon's several baby mamas, has been added to the cast, and to me, she is the perfect addition. She is confident without being like too much or too try hard. Like, she's confrontational without searching for drama. Like, she is that girl, in my opinion. Like, I will admit that I judged her off the basis of, like, you know, what she decided to do with that whole Nick Cannon situation. I think all the women involved with him after, like, you know, the third one are a mess. But her on this show, I like her. I stan her, and I'm really shocked to say that. So why don't we kick things off with a recap of what went down on the first episode of the new season. I watched the first 3, like I told you, so I will try to get the 3 recaps out today. I'm not really feeling makeup-y today, so I'm like, you know what? Let me do this audio version. But for the following ones, I will be back on camera, okay? So we kick things off with a beautiful house that Emma has as a listing. And like, you know, I think that the producers really kind of are paying attention to the notes from last year, right? Like we said, we don't want drama for the sake of it. We don't want to hear about Christine every 2 minutes. Obviously, she's fired, so we're not going to hear that. But I was worried when they played the trailer and they were still talking about her. Like, damn, let it go, people, right? And we also said we want more real estate. Last season, number 5, it felt like that we barely saw houses. But this year, we kick things off directly with Emma listing a beautiful home that used to belong to Harry Styles. And then after that, he sold it to someone. And that is when the person became Emma's client. So it's not Harry using Emma to list it, but like it was once owned by Harry. And so I found that interesting. One thing that always attracted me to Selling Sunset was kind of like the celebrity connection and whatnot, an inside look at their homes. And the fun facts, take for example, Harry Styles. When he sold the house and left, he left behind hundreds of pairs of shoes. And mind you, these were probably designer shoes. I'm talking Gucci because he is a spokesperson for Gucci, the whole 9 yards. How interesting is that to find out? So Emma and Chrishell, at this point, they talk about how Chrishell has been working from home a lot because of her breakup from Jason. That obviously was very painful for Chrishell, and it's awkward, right? Being around your ex. This is why I don't believe in dating people that like you have to see like on a daily basis, right? Whether it's professional setting or like wherever you live or something. Like, just try to keep it separate. That way it's a lot easier to navigate a breakup if it does come to that, because let's face it, the most part of relationships end, right? So you do have to think that way, unfortunately. So the conversation then transitions towards Chrishell's new romantic interest. She has been dating someone who goes by the name of GFlip. And we don't really get into it too much yet, although we will see GFlip a little bit later on and like kind of their dynamic and whatnot. And Chrishell is also feeling quite distant from her once bestie, Mary. Mary also dated Jason like much before Chrishell, and she was supportive of the relationship and everything, but Chrishell's quite surprised that what used to be her bestie has now kind of like distanced herself from her, and she's wondering like, hey, what's that all about? I know you're closer to Jason and you've known him more, but I was still expecting a certain level of support from my friend, and I just did not get that. Now, speaking of Mary, she and her ex-boyfriend Jason, they laugh about how they are dating people who are much younger than them, right? So Mary's husband Romain, he used to be the butt of the jokes because he was like the original, like much younger lover at that time. But they've been married since the second season of the show. So like now that's over. He's in his 30s. He's doing well. Like, he's shown that he's in it for the long haul and everything. But all these other people have a revolving door of youngsters, which is something that I find quite, I don't know, I don't love it. For example, Jason, he's 45 years old, dating a 24-year-old. Sorry, not sorry, but I find that kind of gross, you know, especially when you have a habit of that. Like, he only really broke his habit with Chrishell and Mary and another person we're going to find out about. I don't want to spoil it for you guys that like there was another person in the office that he dated, which is another thing we need to get into. The way this man just sleeps around the office to me is just really like creepy and unethical, but I digress. So let's get back into Bre Tiesi. So Nick Cannon's baby mama, Bre, she's introduced to the show at this point, and they're telling us she is a high-powered seller. She typically sells homes that cost a minimum of $15 million. She's not into the cute $2, $3, $4 million homes that you see with some of these sellers. She's playing with the big dogs, which is really interesting to me. Now she goes out for lunch with Heather, and Heather gives her the rundown on office culture, like, you know, what the friendships, relationships are like, and everything like that. And I gotta say, I love Heather so much. She has always been such a bubbly, positive, nice person, you know, and she accepts people. She doesn't like go looking for drama or whatnot. She really is just someone who's secure in herself and in her life, and she just wants everyone to be like happy and peaceful and whatnot. And I think that that is a great quality to have. So this was a lunch that they were having just before Heather brings her into like the actual Oppenheim group. So you're going to see her kind of like getting into that. Now, they go back to the office. And so we find out that Emma is planning a broker's open with a dress code. And mind you, Heather is pregnant, and she's a really cute pregnant lady, by the way. And so the dress code is very like, you know, fancy cocktail dresses and stuff like that. And so Heather's like, oh, wow, like I'm having a hard time. I don't know how I'm going to find something like that. Like right now, like I'm no longer fitting into a size 23 or 00 because of my baby bump. And I'm like, size 23, what is this girl talking about? I have never heard of a size 23. I myself, I'm a size 36, which is a size 6. And so I was like, oh my God, am I like this large that you know what I mean? That there's a size 23? Like, oh my God, I have to be honest with you guys. Sometimes this show makes me feel like a walrus almost, you know, like these girls are so tiny. Like I'm talking like tiny, like turn around and they fall in between like, you know, those like grates on the sidewalk or whatever. And it makes me feel huge sometimes. So when this girl said she was a size 23, I went looking, I'm like, come on, there's no way. So I think that like maybe it's baby brain or something like that, pregnancy brain. She inversed 32 and 23 because the smallest size on a chart I could find is size 32, which is a size extra, extra small. She said she's a 00, which is a extra, extra small. So that was kind of like cute in my opinion. So, oh, can we get into Chelsea, by the way, you guys? I have to be honest. I liked her when we first kind of like got to know her through Christine. But I feel like she feels like she really needs to bring it on an almost kind of superficial, like force the drama kind of level. And I'm not loving it. Like, I don't want her to try to take over like that place that Christine filled, because Christine, before she left, she truly alienated herself. And I don't want that for Chelsea. She just made a lot of like weird, snooty comments about like, you know, putting herself above other people. Like I forgot like the exact specifics, but I just didn't like the vibe she was giving off. Now let's get into GFlip. Like I told you guys early on, we do get to see GFlip here. And GFlip and Chrishell have been dating for a couple of months at this point. And GFlip is Australian, an artist and whatnot. I think a drummer and a singer. And yeah, like this seems to be something that's quite serious. I have to admit, I thought it was kind of like a rebound, just have fun sort of a deal. But no, this seems to be the real deal for Chrishell. In fact, they actually got married not too long ago. It was actually in secret that they got married and everything like that. Listen, I am happy to see Chrishell move on and whatnot. But I do hope that as the season progresses, GFlip kind of calms it down with a high pitch, like baby, every like other word. Like I was getting like full body like shudders from it. She just I was getting full body shudders from it. Like GFlip just kept going, baby, you know, like I was like, oh my God, like this is a lot. Let's calm it down. But anyway, like I said, like they seem to be in a happy love bubble, and I'm looking forward to watching how this relationship develops. Now, I will say when it comes to Jason and Chrishell, if you guys watch my old Selling Sunset videos, and you know, I never saw the chemistry between the two of them. I have a video on TikTok that actually went viral. It's kind of funny. So the two of them are dancing in Mykonos, and it just looked like, I don't know, the most awkward like thing, like the most awkward, weird, like platonic sort of a situation. And yeah, so I just was like, no, this doesn't seem like a real like kind of a situation or whatnot. But I am now seeing the chemistry now that they've broken up, because when Chrishell walks into the room at the Brokers Open and Jason's there, like he has that look, like you guys know, like if you've been through like relationships and breakups and you know love and whatnot, you know the look, right? He's just like has the star eyes, and like he like looks like he's smiling from like ear to ear, like really, really big. Like he could not hide it if he tried at that point. I'm like, okay, so there really was a serious kind of like story there. And he was tripping over himself to admit that he had been stalking Chrishell's Instagram page. I'm like, damn, you were down bad if you were willing to admit all of that, Jason, right? Like that was kind of funny to me. He claims that he is in love though. He's got like this girlfriend and whatnot. And so Chrishell claims that she's in love as well. So it's like, okay, well, it's nice to see that they've kind of got that energy out of the way, because that first meeting after a breakup is really, really difficult, right? Like everything kind of just floods right back to the top, to the surface. So it was nice to see that between the two of them, that they were able to keep it like cool and whatnot. And I don't know how Jason doesn't get tired of breaking up with people that he works with. Like, I went through a breakup, like a really, really big one, with someone like that lived in the same apartment building as me. And it was an apartment building with like hundreds of people. And that was difficult. And I would never, ever, ever, ever date someone that like had this kind of proximity to me again. So the fact that like Jason just keeps signing up for this is so wild to me. I don't know. He must be a glutton for punishment, or I don't know what it is. So we get to the Brokers Open. I'm telling you already, we are at the Brokers Open, actually. Sorry, my notes were not clear there. But Emma, it seems to be soft launching her own coming out. She was making a lot of really interesting comments. For example, Chelsea had a Gucci purse, right? It had a vagina on it. And so Emma was like, oh, wow, blah, blah, blah. And then she like starts like, pretending to lick it and stuff. And then she's talking about how like things look like vagines and stuff. And then like she has Chrishell take shots out of her boobs. And then she made other little comments. I'm like, girl, are you about to let us know that you are kind of, open yourself? I feel like when people in your circle start coming out or are out, like you feel more comfortable with it. And this is something that a friend of mine experienced. So she recently came out as bi. And so she noticed, she was telling me that like, like some of her like, platonic female friends had started telling her about their own kind of like journeys and trying to figure out where they're at on the spectrum and whatnot. So I wonder if that is the case with Emma. It was quite interesting. Did you notice that as well? Now, Chelsea, I gotta say, our girl, she is looking for drama. She wants to secure her check and whatnot. But I think she's about to learn that she's biting off a bit more than she can chew. Christine chose very weak victims, right? She chose Mary. She chose Heather, like people who are not fighters and whatnot and who will not bark back. But Chelsea, she's trying to go up against Bre Tiesi, and that is not going to end well for Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea has the same bite that Bre has. I think Chelsea's all bark and Bre's all bite. And so I'm kind of nervous for her. So at this Brokers Open, Shady Chelsea brought in two girls that Bre used to model with. They used to be like, I think it's like a ring, like when you do like boxing and then there are those like, ring girls and stuff. I think it was that sort of modeling. And I thought that these were like friends of Bre, and Chelsea didn't know about it. And it was all like this big coincidence, because Chelsea literally asked Bre, first of all, she's introducing these girls as her best friends in the world. And then after, she seems shocked that Bre knows these girls. And she's like, oh, how do you know them? I'm like, well, girl, if you were best friends with this person, like she's your best friend in the world, do you not talk about your work? And then, how you have a new girl, and like, wouldn't she know like that the new girl is someone that she knows as well? And wouldn't you have gotten the juice from that? And by the way, Bre, when she saw these girls, she was like screaming from ear to ear. She played it off really well. I thought she liked these girls and was friendly with them and stuff, but apparently not. She says that they used to have beef back in the day, like when they were modeling. They just did not get along. And so that was quite like crazy to me, but I guess for professional purposes, she didn't want to like give them the cold shoulder or whatnot. So that was great. Now, in a separate scene, Bre Tiesi meets up with Heather, and she tells her that she's not feeling Chelsea because of the way that she brought those girls that she had beef with in order to try and ambush her. And she also didn't like the questions that Chelsea asked her about her clients. Back at the office, Chelsea was trying to be encouraging to Bre, when she first stepped foot, and she was like, oh, like, don't have any hard feelings if you don't like even sell anything your first year. Like, it's tough. And it just is a learning experience, which I thought was great. And then Bre talks about how she sells like, she sold like 12 million her first year. And so Chelsea's like, wow. And they get into clients, and Chelsea asks like, who her clients are or whatever. And, Bre took that poorly. She's like, oh no, I don't want to disclose. I don't like that she even asked me that. I was like, I felt like it was an innocent question. I would have asked a question like that, But I digress. And I will also say that Bre is kind of smart to like realize that that was a setup with the friends, because I would have taken Chelsea at face value. If she told me, oh, I had no idea that like you knew these people and whatnot, and like, you know, tell me the tea like that, I would have been like, yeah, girl, like, and blah, blah. Like, I would not have like seen like the maliciousness coming. But, you know, I guess like when you know people in person, like you feel their vibes and whatnot. And she can feel that Chelsea has kind of like malicious or ill intent towards her. Now, let's get to Chrishell and Mary. At the end of the episode, Chrishell decides to approach her former bestie, Mary. Sorry, that's Heather. And just talk about the distance in their friendship ever since Chrishell's breakup from Jason and how she needed Mary, but Mary wasn't there. Mary, I gotta say, her energy was a bit defensive and weird. And she also just says basically, listen, Chrishell, you seem to be doing fine. You got yourself a new boo thing. And Jason is the one that actually needed like the support and whatnot. And so Chrishell, she was upset with that. She was like, oh, come on now. Like, you and I both know that Jason was banging everybody in sight after that breakup and like playing lost sad puppy for the reunion. So come on, you know? And so she was disappointed. And a producer asks her if she could ever forgive Mary for not being there to support her throughout her breakup. Chrishell kind of just sighs. And I can't remember for certain or not. You guys let me know in the comment section. But I believe that her answer was basically no, that she cannot forgive Mary for not being there for her, which, you know, is sad, right? But that's life. Like certain things kind of like sting and cut you to the core. And this just so happened to be one of those things for Chrishell. Now, you guys, what did you think of the first episode of Selling Sunset season 6? Did it bring exactly what you were looking for? Did it fall short? Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.